What is going on, everybody? Today we are going to do a top 15 ranking of the offensive line prospects. These are guys that I think are going to have a lot of success. These are guys that I think are going to be some of the best players in the NFL at the offensive line position. And I'm going to just go through this. This video is not going to be super long, super detailed. And we do have a lot of film breakdowns on a lot of these guys already available on the channel. So subscribe if you're not subscribed. We will be following a lot of these guys as well as the season kind of hits. Number 15, we're going to start it off with Dawand Jones, Ohio State. Right tackle. To me, Jones is a very interesting football player. On one end, he's smart, super long wingspan. But then on another instance, the guy is a little bit on the slower side. And I think because of that, he's not going to go in the first or second round. I think he's going to slip a little bit. I think NFL teams value movement at the tackle position because you got defensive ends that are super quick, super bendy, and sometimes guys like Dawand Jones or Orlando Brown or Trent Brown, right, these big 6'8", massive 360, 370 guys aren't able to handle that. And I think teams may be hesitant on Dawand Jones, but if the guy's able to get 5% better in his movement skills, in his ability to take on those speedy guys off the edge, to me, he could be the best tackle in this class. He has the football IQ that most guys don't have. To me, he is the second smartest and second best technique when it comes to pass blocking specifically in this class at that tackle position. Number 15, you got Dawand Jones. Jumping in at number 14, you got Andrew Vorhees, guard out of USC, who is a very, very, very good football player. Early in the process, he was being ranked as the second best guard, and I think that shifted a little bit, and at this point, he's being ranked as like guard 5 or 6. But I think he's still going to be a really good football player, and I think he has massive upside as well. To me, when I look at a guy like Andrew Vorhees, 38 bench press reps, powerful football player, good length, and very good height, right? Super tall. He does have a lot of miles already, right? He's played a lot of football, but he's a very good football player. And he did get injured at the combine, and I do think that's going to have his stock slip just a little bit, but I think this guy's the real deal, and I think he's going to have a lot of success. He's ranked 14th on our list. Number 13, we got Anton Harrison, Oklahoma left tackle. This one's an intriguing football player. On one end, Harrison isn't even as good as Dawand Jones when it comes to the actual tape, but Harrison has one thing that Dawand Jones doesn't, which is the movement skills, right? Harrison is fast. He's explosive. He's a pretty good run blocker, and he definitely understands blocking angles, and I think that's very clear when you watch his tape. He's pretty good in pass pro, although he can obviously get better. And some people say he may be a first-round pick. A team like the Bengals or Chiefs may end up taking him later in the first round. And if it's not one of those teams, maybe another team takes him early in the second round. And I think that may actually happen. I do like Anton Harrison a lot, but is he a first-round player for me? He is not. I do not have him graded as a first-round pick. That doesn't mean he can't go in the first round, right? Because there are, positional values a big factor in taking guys, right? Tackles get ranked higher than guards. Anton Harrison, who is nowhere near Osiris Torrence, may go higher because he's a tackle. Torrence is the guard, right? But I do have Harrison as my 13th overall offensive lineman. Number 12, we got Carter Warren, left tackle out of Pitt. And this guy is a guy that a lot of people don't know about. He's a guy who I came across early in the process while actually watching Myles Murphy's tape. If you guys don't know this, there's not a lot of Clemson tape available. So we actually looked at the 2021 tape of Myles Murphy against Pitt. That just happened to be the game I clicked on. And Murphy did nothing, like absolutely nothing. And I said, this guy sucks. What the hell's going on? Then I started looking into this left tackle. I said, let's see if this guy's actually good. And I realized that this guy is actually pretty damn good. I watched this left tackle across multiple other games, and the guy is good as hell. Unfortunately for him, he did get hurt this year. He played in the first 3 games fully, and then he got hurt in the 4th game, and he ended up not playing the rest of the season. He didn't have any off-season workouts, and because of that, he's not going to be a top 64 pick. But some people believe Carter Warren had the potential to be one of the top 3 or 4 tackles in this class before he got hurt. And had he had the tape of his final year actually available, I think the guy would get he'd get looked at as possibly one of the first tackles taken in this class. I think he would have been a first-round pick based off the tackles, right? Not a lot of great tackles in this class anyways. But I do think Carter Warren is better than Anton Harrison, and I do think Carter Warren has way more upside. Very explosive, very quick, great punch, first step punch. The guy has really, really good tape, and he's the type of tackle you want on your team. You know, I can see a team like the Cowboys targeting a left tackle, and I know they took Tyler Smith last year, but some people do think Tyler Smith's best fit will be at left guard as opposed to tackle, and if that's the case, a guy like Carter Warren could be a perfect fit for the Cowboys. To me, Carter Warren is one of those guys that's going to have a lot of success long term. He is ranked as our 12th offensive lineman. Number 11, we got Luke Wypler out of Ohio State. And Wypler is a very intriguing prospect because an argument could be made that Luke Wypler is a better player than both Paris Johnson and Dawand Jones, right? Like, that argument could be made. Personally, I don't think he is better than Paris Johnson, but he is close, right? I think Paris Johnson obviously has much more upside, but I still think Luke Wypler is the number 2 center in this class. And to me, he's one of those guys that's strong, physical, very smart, and he does need to get better, but the guy is really, really good on tape. Ohio State has produced some good offensive linemen in the NFL, and I think Luke Wypler is going to be one of those next offensive linemen that ends up being very, very good. To me, Luke Wypler is going to go in the second round. Like, I'd be very surprised. Some people have said he may even go ahead of John Michael Schmitz, although I don't see that happening. I do think Wypler is going to have a lot of success. He's ranked as number 11 on our list. Jumping into number 10, we got Steve Avila at a TCU. Some people are going to say, isn't that kind of low for Steve Avila? And, you know, the more tape I watch of this guy, the more I realize that he's okay. Like, nothing really flashes to me on tape of Avila. I think he's a good football player. But to say he's the best guard in this class, which some people actually think, I don't see it. In fact, I don't even think he's the second best guard or third, fourth, or even fifth best guard. And you guys will see as we kind of go through this list. This list has a lot of guards, especially at the top. I think it's a very guard-heavy draft. But to me, Steve Avila is not one of the best guards in this class. And I have him ranked pretty low, and I am definitely lower on him. And some people will say, well, TCU kind of runs a weird scheme, and that's true, but to me, Steve Avila is a very power-heavy dependent player. He doesn't have great reachability. He doesn't climb as well as I would like to see some guys climb. And, you know, before I fully watched all the tape, I had this guy ranked as my number 2 guard. And as I watched the tape of some other guys, and we'll get into the list, and keep in mind some guys only play tackle, and we only have tape of them at tackle, but they're projected to be guards in the NFL. You know, think of Peter Skoronski as an example. I think those guys are actually better guards than Steve Avila will be. So Avila, for me, is my 10th ranked offensive lineman, which still isn't bad. I think he's still going to be a second to third round pick. But I do think there's guys that are a little bit better than him. One being the 9th player on this list, which is Tyler Steen out of Alabama. To me, Tyler Steen, who played left tackle at Alabama, is actually going to transition to guard at the next level. He's 6'5", which is good size, and technically 6'5" guys could play tackle. But I think with Tyler Steen, the thing is his arm length puts him in the 9th percentile. So as a tackle, you can't have that type of arm length. You can't have that type of wingspan. To me, Tyler Steen is going to be a guard. And at the Senior Bowl, he actually played guard. He didn't play tackle. And I think the guys at the Senior Bowl realized real quick that NFL teams are going to want to watch Tyler Steen. Not at tackle, but at guard, and we got that. We got to see him at guard, and he stuck out. To me, Tyler Steen was one of the best guards at the Senior Bowl. The guy had a very, very, very good day. He put up 31 bench press reps. He has good reachability, right? He's smart, good reachability. And I even saw him do the slingshot block a couple times. So to me, Tyler Steen is ranked as the number 9 player. I do think he's going to be a better guard than Steve Avila, which, you know, obviously kind of comes with these rankings. Let's go ahead and get into number 8. But with number 8, we're going to combine it with number 7 because these are our next 2 tackle prospects. At number 8, we got Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State. And ranked slightly above him for me is Georgia's Broderick Jones. So I do think Broderick Jones is going to be a better tackle than Paris Johnson. But it's neck and neck. 8 is Johnson, 7 is Jones. So they're right there. But let's talk about it a little bit. To me, the guys are the complete opposite type of tackles. Paris Johnson's technique in pass pro is really, really bad, right? I think once he gets into the NFL, he's going to give up a lot of sacks year one. And what's interesting is a lot of people say, well, he never gave up a sack in college, and that's just not true. Paris Johnson did give up sacks. I don't know why PFF pushes this narrative that this guy's never gave up any sacks. Like, you can watch the tape just from this past year. Against Georgia, he gave up a sack. And I can't remember the other game, but the guy's given up at least 3 sacks this past year. And if it wasn't for the quarterback he had, right? Like, let's say he was blocking for a guy like, Matt Ryan, for example, right? Or Derek Carr, a guy that's not as mobile. This guy would have given up more sacks this year, right? So Paris Johnson's not a good pass blocker. And Broderick Jones is a good pass blocker. In fact, Broderick Jones is a great pass blocker. I think he has that strength to become one of the best pass blockers in the NFL. Now, the thing with that is on the opposite end, Paris Johnson is very good at run blocking, and Broderick Jones is very bad at run blocking. So they're the opposite, right? Paris Johnson, great run blocker. Broderick Jones, great pass pro. Opposite, Broderick Jones, really, really, really bad at run blocking, and Paris Johnson is really, really bad at pass pro. So let's talk about that. The thing with Paris Johnson for me is, can he develop his pass pro technique? I think he can. I think most guys can develop their pass pro technique. Run blocking, I think, is a little bit harder. And I say that because with pass pro, you get better with a lot of reps. With run blocking, you do get better with reps, but it's not the same. And what I mean by that is when you have to reach on a 3-eye technique as a left tackle, that's a hard reach for some guys. Like Broderick Jones really struggles. The guy cannot reach. And Georgia ran the power scheme, right? So it didn't really flash as often that this guy has a lot of really bad run blocks. But when you take out all the power runs and you only focus on the zone runs, Broderick Jones really, really struggled. He couldn't reach to a simple 3-eye. And that's not even considering sometimes you got to reach to a 3 technique. Sometimes you got to reach to a 2-eye. Broderick Jones can't reach a gap over, and that's a big flaw. And to me, I don't know if teams are going to draft him higher than Paris Johnson for that reason, because you can get better in pass pro. We've seen guys like Andrew Thomas get better. We've seen guys like Colton Miller get better. Guys get better when it comes to pass protection. Now, I will also say this. Broderick Jones is strong as hell, and if he goes to a pure power scheme like the Raiders, he's going to have success, right? Because the Raiders run power 85% of the time. And I do think he'll get better when it comes to his actual zone reaching ability, but he just has to get better with the angles. He's very athletic, as both guys are kind of athletic. And I do have Broderick Jones ranked slightly ahead of Paris Johnson because for me, pass blocking is way more important than run blocking. But do also understand Paris Johnson is strong as hell. Really good run blocker. And when I say run blocker, I mean zone specific. Very, very, very powerful. Obviously, he had 29 bench press reps. Wingspan 95th percentile. So you take those type of things and you hope he can translate when it comes to pass pro. But 8 and 7, you got Paris Johnson and Broderick Jones. You can really say, it's like 8A, 8B. Really, it's not a big deal. I think they're both going to be good players. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the 6th guy on this list. We got a bunch of guards from here forward. Basically, most of these guys are guards. But number 6, we got Cody Mauch out of North Dakota State. To me, Cody Mauch is a guard. He is not playing tackle. And, you can look at his wingspan. You can look at how much he's already gotten in terms of his weight up, right? He came in as a tight end. You don't get much stronger and you don't get much heavier, right? If you already go from if you're a tight end in college where you weigh like 230 and now you get up to like 290 over 3 to 4 years in college, you're not going to go now from 290 to like 330. It's just not really possible. I think Cody Mauch is mean. He's nasty. He's physical in his game, right? Like he has that mindset where he wants to put people down. But he doesn't have the power blocking abilities. And I think he's very zone specific. And to me, if Cody Mauch goes to a team like the Eagles and he's their starting right guard come, this upcoming year, I think he's going to have a lot of success because in zone blocking, this guy's different. Like, he is very, very, very different. And I know some people are saying the Eagles could take a guy like Peter Skoronski with pick 10. I think you can wait until the second round or even the third round or late in the first or whatever it may be to take a guy like Cody Mauch, who should still theoretically be there. Very, very, very good zone blocker. Probably the best zone blocker. And he does have arguably the best technique when it comes to blocking. When we did his film breakdown, the guy did things such as slingshot blocking. He did things such as snatch and trapping. He does a great job when it comes to the gallop block or like the skip steps and those type of things. The guy's top tier when it comes to his technique. And Cody Mauch is one of those guys that, in my opinion, he's going to have a lot of success at the NFL level, but it will be at guard. Number 5, we got Peter Skoronski coming out of Northwestern. Peter Skoronski is an interesting prospect, in my opinion, because some people have him as a tackle in the NFL, and I don't think it's going to work. Northwestern is not Alabama. It's not Ohio State. You're not playing the best competition all the time. Northwestern, it's Northwestern at the end of the day. And if Peter Skoronski has success at left tackle at Northwestern, that doesn't mean he's going to have that same success when he goes into the NFL and he's playing against NFL players. I think the thing that sticks out on tape right away with Peter Skoronski is his arm length. Like, he's constantly getting outreached by the defensive players, and being in the 4th percentile for his arm length doesn't help him out at all. 4th percentile means 96% of people are better. Maybe it's 95 technically, have longer arm reach than him. And to me, it's just not going to work for Peter Skoronski at that tackle position. But with that being said, I think he has the chance to be the best guard in this class. I do have 2 guards ranked higher than him, and we'll get into those guys here in just a second. But I think Peter Skoronski is going to be a very good offensive lineman at the next level, but I don't think it's going to be at tackle. He's very good in zone blocking, very good in power blocks. He's very good when it comes to pass pro technique. You'll see him snatch and trap occasionally as well. But he uses his hands a lot, right? A guy can potentially try to chop arm over, and this guy will swat that down and just absolutely shut it down. To me, Peter Skoronski is number 5. Jumping into number 4. This is a guy that kind of came on late here, but he's a guy whose tape does not lie. That is NC State's Chandler Zavala. Some people say he's the best guard in this class. I may not disagree with that. I may not disagree that Chandler Zavala is the best guard in this class. Now, he is strong as hell, but his best ability is zone blocking. And I think in the NFL, zone blocking is used much more often nowadays than power anyways. Inside zone, outside zone. So I think he's going to translate right away into the NFL. He is a true guard, right? He doesn't have that tackle flexibility. But Chandler Zavala is one of those guys where if you guys watch his tape, it sticks out. Very good, very smart, very tough. Processes very well. And I think when it comes to processing, I think that's kind of what makes a guy great versus a guy just really good. And this guy has great processing. So number 4 on this list is Chandler Zavala out of NC State. Number 3, we got our number 1 center on this board, John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota. Schmitz is the guy, man. It's crazy because someone on Twitter took this guy's clips and they took like 5 bad reps that he's had and said this guy's overrated. But they left out the other 99.9% of snaps, and most of those other snaps are very stout. And I think this guy is one of those guys where he's a plug and play starter day one. If a team has a center who has an expiring contract, you can move Michael Schmitz to guard, let him play guard for a year. But he's a long-term center, and I think he's going to be one of the best centers in the NFL over time. I remember when Creed Humphrey was coming out, I said Creed Humphrey is impressive as hell. And I feel the same way with John Michael Schmitz. He is ranked as my number 3 offensive lineman, but he could have easily been number 2. Number 2 is Osiris Torrence, guard out of Florida. I could have flipped those guys either way, to be honest. I just ended up hitting copy and paste on Osiris Torrence first, so I kind of just left him there. But I think both guys are going to be very, very, very good. Now, Michael Schmitz is, he can play the power, he can play the zone, inside, outside zone. he has great reachability. And Osiris Torrence as well can pretty much do it all as well. Very powerful, very strong. Torrence has been the #1 guard early in the process, and it's kind of stayed that way as well as the process has continued. Torrence is most people's #1 guard. He is my #1 guard as well. Although Chandler Zavala's right there, like it's not that big of a gap between the two guys. I think the gap between those two guys is much closer than the gap between, like, let's say, for example, Steve Avila and Osiris Torrence, right? I think Torrence is one of those guys that you're going to plug in day one, and he's going to be a bully out there, right? He's almost like Kenyon Green, who got drafted by the Houston Texans last year, starting left guard, started the entire season. Torrence is almost similar to Green. I think Green was one of the best rookie guards last year. And Torrence is going to go to a team that maybe runs a lot of power. Maybe it's the Raiders, maybe the Cowboys, who, although they run zone and power, maybe a team like the Bears wouldn't take a guy like Torrence, right? The Bears run a lot more zone. But to me, Torrence is the #2 guy on this on my board for this class. The #1 guy on my board is a guy who I've been very high on since day one. Some of you guys may already know who it is. That is right tackle out of Tennessee, Darnell Wright. Every 3 weeks or so, I'll go back and I'll watch some of Darnell Wright's tape just to say, like, hey, am I missing something with this guy? And every 3 weeks, I just get more and more and more impressed with Darnell Wright. He's smart as hell. He's a very good processor. But most importantly, his technique is the best in this class. Darnell Wright snatches probably every 10 snaps where he's able to actually snatch. It doesn't always work where the guy falls, but it always works in terms of removing leverage. To me, Darnell Wright is one of the guys in this class that is going to be the best tackle out of this class, and is not close. He's great pass pro already. Like, he's the best pass blocker in this class. Run blocking, he isn't the best run blocker in this class, but he is one of the top 2 or 3 guys at the tackle position in terms of run blocking. And I think that's good enough, right? In the NFL today, teams pass the ball way more often than they run the ball. And I think Darnell Wright is a day one starter. And I'm going to make the bold prediction that I think Darnell Wright's going to be the first tackle taken in this class. I know the NFL draft community doesn't have him going as the #1 tackle. A lot of people have Paris Johnson or Broderick Jones. Darnell Wright is better than those guys. It is not close, right? Anybody that watches tape and evaluates tape understands where Darnell Wright actually ranks. His tape relative to those other guys. To me, Darnell Wright is the real freaking deal. There you guys have it, man. My top 15 guys, from Dawand Jones down to Darnell Wright. Let me know what you guys think about this list. I do want to give an honorable mention to 5 guys really quickly that just missed this list. We got McClendon Curtis out of Chattanooga, Jarrett Patterson out of Notre Dame, Joe Tippmann out of Wisconsin, Dalton Wagner out of Arkansas, and Wayne Morris out of Oklahoma. I think those 5 guys, as well as these 15 guys on this list, in 5 years are going to all be starters, and they're going to have good NFL careers. They're going to be productive as hell. Let me know what you guys think, man. Let me know if you guys think I missed anybody on this list. Let me know in the comments below. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.